And we are live. Welcome to this live recording of an upcoming episode for the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkle. As we step into this episode, I want to start with three numbers, three global statistics that reveal just how quickly the world is shifting towards mandatory AI governance. I won't give them away just yet, but I'll tell you this. One of them shows how many countries are already moving toward enforceable AI regulations. Another exposes how unprepared most businesses truly are. And the third highlights the staggering economic impact tied directly to responsible AI adoption. These aren't abstract figures, they're signals, warning lights on a dashboard of the global economy that's telling us that the era of optional governance is over. If you're a business leader, a technologist, or anyone responsible for digital transformation, these numbers should make you sit up a little straighter. What makes these statistics so powerful is what they represent. They show a world that's waking up to the reality that AI isn't just a tool, it's an infrastructure. It's shaping markets, it's influencing decisions, and it's redefining how companies operate. And yet, despite this massive shift, the gap between AI adoption and AI governance is widening. The numbers reveal a global landscape where innovation is accelerating faster than oversight, where businesses are racing ahead without the guardrails they'll soon be required to have. The first statistic is this: more than 60 countries are now actively developing or implementing AI governance regulations, with several major economies moving towards enforceable risk based frameworks. That number has doubled in just the last 3 years. And this tells us something important, that AI governance is no longer a regional experiment, it's a global movement. Nations across Europe, Asia, North America, and the Middle East are aligning around the same core principles: transparency, accountability, and human oversight. Now, for businesses, this means the regulatory environment is no longer optional or isolated. It's expanding, it's accelerating, and it's becoming a universal expectation. The second statistic is even more revealing. Over 70% of companies worldwide admit that they do not have a formal AI governance framework in place. Think about that gap. While governments are racing ahead for new rules, most businesses are still operating without the structures needed to manage AI responsibly. And this disconnect creates real risk, operational risk, compliance risk, and reputational risk. It also highlights a massive opportunity for business leaders who act early. Now, if your company builds governance right now, you're not just catching up, you're getting ahead of the majority of the global market. And the third statistic underscores the economic stakes. Responsible AI practices are projected to unlock more than $1 trillion in global economy in value by 2030. And that value comes from reduced risk, improved trust, faster adoption, and more reliable AI performance. In other words, governance isn't just about avoiding penalties, it's about enabling growth. And companies that invest in responsible AI will innovate faster, they'll scale more confidently, and they'll build deeper trust with their customers, their partners, and also the regulators. Now, these three statistics together paint a clear picture. The world is moving quickly, businesses are lagging behind, and the companies that embrace governance now will define the next decade of digital leadership. Now, if you think all that's interesting, let me just add this. If you've been using, let me start this over again. If you've been listening to this podcast series and watching our live streams, webinars, or any other video content that this series produces, you already know that we're a huge believer in tools that make digital communication simple, professional, and reliable. And that's exactly why I use StreamYard and their advanced plan for everything I do, for my audio, my video, my live streaming, and also on air webinar sessions. Now, StreamYard gives you a studio quality experience right in your browser. There's no downloads, there's no complicated setup. It's clean, it's powerful production, and it's the tools that let you focus on delivering your message. With the advanced plan, I get multi streaming to multiple platforms, custom branding, local recordings, and the kind of stability you need when you're broadcasting to a global audience. It's the backbone of my digital workflow, and it's the reason my shows look and sound the way they do. If you're already if you're ready to elevate your podcast, your live streams, your webinars, or digital events, I highly recommend checking out StreamYard for yourself. Our referral link is in the episode's description. So take a look, explore the features, and save a little money, and also see why so many creators and professionals trust StreamYard to power their content. And now let's get this episode started. Why 2026 is a turning point. 2026 isn't just another year on the calendar. It's the moment when AI governance stops being theoretical and becomes operational. For the past decade, businesses have experimented. They piloted and they cautiously adopted aspects of AI in pockets within their companies. But now the guardrails are coming into place. Governments, regulators, and global standard bodies are aligning in ways that we've never seen before. And the message is unmistakable. The era of unregulated AI is over. In 2026, every business, no matter its size, sector, or digital maturity, will be expected to demonstrate accountability, transparency, and responsible oversight of the AI systems they deploy. This is the year when leaders must shift from can we use AI to can we govern it responsibly, sustainably, and at scale. And here's a real turning point. AI is no longer just a technological issue. It's a leadership issue. It's a cultural issue. And it's a strategic risk issue. The decisions made in 2026 will shape how companies innovate, how they compete, and how they build trust for the next decade. Companies that embrace governance now want to unlock new opportunities. They're going to strengthen their customer confidence, and they're going to accelerate their transformation. Those that delay will face compliance challenges, operational risk, and reputational exposure that they just cannot afford. This episode really is going to give you more about clarity and all that noise. I'm going to talk about what's changing, what's required, and how to prepare your company for a future where AI governance isn't a burden, but it's a blueprint for long-term success. The new AI governance landscape. The AI governance landscape is undergoing a dramatic transformation, and 2026 is the year when the rules of the game finally crystallize. For years, companies operated in gray zones. They experimented with AI tools, they deployed models across departments, and they relied on voluntary frameworks or internal ethics guidelines. But that era is ending. Governments across the world are moving from advisory language to enforceable requirements, and businesses are now expected to demonstrate real accountability. We're seeing the emergence of risk-based classifications, mandatory transparency obligations, and documentation standards that mirror what cybersecurity and data privacy went through decades ago. In other words, AI is entering into its regulatory adulthood. And what makes this moment so significant is that the governance landscape is no longer fragmented or theoretical. Regulators are aligning around shared principles, transparency, fairness, safety, and importantly, human oversight. That means businesses can't simply rely on vendor assurances or hope that good intentions will satisfy auditors. They need systems. They need repeatability. They need measurability. They need defensible systems that show how AI decisions are made, monitored, and ultimately corrected when they're in error. And this shift isn't just coming from governments, from industry bodies, insurers, or investors, or even customers that are raising the bar. The message is clear. If AI is going to drive value, it must also be governed with rigor. This new landscape creates both pressure and opportunity. Pressure because businesses must now understand their AI footprint. They They have to classify risk and implement controls that may have never been considered before. Opportunity becomes companies that embrace governance early and will build trust. It will reduce operational risk and position themselves as leaders in a marketplace that increasingly rewards responsibility. Core pillars of AI governance in 2026. When we talk about AI governance in 2026, we're really talking about four foundational pillars that every business must understand: risk management and model oversight, data governance and security, transparency and explainability, and human accountability. These aren't abstract concepts anymore. They're the structural supports that determine whether your AI strategy is resilient or is vulnerable. The first pillar, risk management and model oversight, is all about knowing what AI you have, what it's doing, and where it can go wrong. Businesses must be able to identify high-risk systems, monitor for biases or drift, and establish internal review boards that can intervene when something doesn't look right. This is where governance becomes a living process. It's not a binder on a shelf. It's really the difference between reacting to problems and preventing them. The second pillar, data governance and security, is equally crucial. AI is not only trustworthy as the data that feeds it. In 2026, businesses must demonstrate that they understand the lineage of their data, that it's protected, and that it meets regulatory and ethical standards. This includes everything from cybersecurity controls to documentation that shows how data was collected, how it was cleaned, and how it was validated. Then comes transparency and explainability. Regulators, customers, and even employees want to know how AI systems make decisions. And that means businesses must be able to articulate in plain language what their models do and why. Explainability isn't just about compliance requirement, it's about trust. And finally, the fourth pillar, human accountability. No matter how advanced AI becomes, humans remain responsible for its outcomes. In 2026, businesses must clarify and define who owns AI decisions, who supervises systems, and who steps in when something goes off course. This requires training, cultural building, and a mindset shift across enterprise. Together, these four pillars form the backbone of responsible AI adoption, and they ensure that innovation doesn't outpace oversight and that businesses can scale AI with confidence, clarity, and also credibility. Operationalizing AI governance. What businesses must do now. The first step in optimization AI governance is building a framework, not a slide deck, not a policy that sits untouched, but a living structure that guides how AI is selected, deployed, monitored, and evaluated. This means defining roles and responsibilities and escalation paths across the business. Information technology can't on its own alone. It has to be legal, HR, operations, compliance, and the executive leadership. They all need to see a seat at that table. Think of it as creating an internal AI governance council that meets regularly, that reviews risk, and that ensures alignment between innovation and oversight. Now, without this cross functional ownership, AI governance becomes fragmented, and fragmented governance is where risk thrives. Next, businesses must conduct a full AI inventory. You can't govern what you can't see. And most businesses are surprised when they discover how many AI enabled tools are already in use. Some that are approved, some that are not, and some that are embedded in third party platforms without clear visibility. Now, by mapping these systems, this allows you to classify them by risk to identify shadow AI and prioritize where controls are needed most. From there, it's about implementing guardrails, access controls, monitoring mechanisms, validation cycles, and vendor risk assessments. These aren't just compliance tasks, they're operational safeguards to protect your business from unintended outcomes. Finally, businesses must prepare for a world where audits and reporting become routine. Regulators, partners, and even customers will expect documentation that shows how AI decisions are made and monitored. And this means that maintaining model cards, decision logs, data lineage records, and clear explanations of how systems are tested and updated. The companies that succeed in 2026 will be the ones that treat governance as an ongoing discipline, not a one time project. They'll build systems of scale, processes that adapt, and cultures that understand and share the responsibility of working alongside intelligent technologies. Now, strategic advantages of strong AI governance. One of the biggest misconceptions about AI governance is that it slows innovation. In reality, the opposite is true. When businesses build strong governance framework, they create the conditions for AI to scale safely, consistently, and importantly, have confidence. Governance reduces uncertainty. It eliminates the guesswork around data quality, model behavior, and compliance exposures. And when leaders know their systems are trustworthy, they can deploy AI into more critical workflows with far less hesitation. That's where the competitive advantage emerges. Companies with mature governance can innovate faster because they are not constantly firefighting issues or second guessing whether their AI is creating unseen risk. Strong governance also builds trust internally and externally. Customers who want that AI systems influencing their experiences are fair, transparent, and accountable. Regulators that want assurance that businesses can explain and defend their automated decisions. And employees want clarity about how AI will support their work, not replace it. When governance is in place, trust becomes a strategic asset. It strengthens brand reputation, it improves stakeholder confidence, and it opens doors to partnerships that would otherwise be off limits. In a marketplace where AI adoption is accelerating, trust is becoming just as valuable as technical capability. And finally, businesses that embrace governance early, they position themselves for long-term resilience. As regulations evolve, as models become more complex, and as AI integrates deeper into operations, businesses with strong governance won't need to scramble. They already have the systems, they already have the documentation, and they have the culture in place. They'll be ready for audits, they'll be ready for new standards, and they're going to be ready for the next wave of AI innovation. Governance isn't just about compliance, it's about building a durable foundation that lets AI become a true engine of growth, not a source of risk. Now, the 2026 2030 outlook, where AI governance is headed. As we look forward towards 2030, one thing becomes unmistakably clear: AI governance is moving towards global harmonization. The patchwork of national and regional rules that we see today, they're going to begin to converge into shared standards, shared definitions, and shared expectations for how AI systems must behave. Businesses will no longer be able to rely on localized compliance strategies. Instead, they'll need governance frameworks that scale across borders, industries, and global regulatory environments. This shift will push businesses to adopt more mature, interoperable systems for documentation, for monitoring and auditing their AI. In many ways, AI governance will start to resemble the evolution of cybersecurity. What began as a fragmented landscape will become a unified discipline with common benchmarks and best practices. And at the same time, we'll see the rise of industry specific governance. In healthcare, energy, finance, manufacturing, each sector will develop its own rules for high risk AI. It'll be tailored to the unique consequences of failure in each of those business environments. That means businesses will need to understand not just general AI governance principles, but the nuances of their own industry's expectations. And as AI becomes more deeply embedded in operations, we'll see the emergence of autonomous compliance systems, AI that monitors AI. These systems will track model drift, detect unusual patterns and issues. It'll flag potential biases and generate audit ready documentation automatically. Governance will shift from a manual human driven process to a hybrid model where humans oversee intelligent systems that handle all the heavy lifting. And by 2030, the businesses that thrive will be the ones that treat AI governance as a strategic capability, not a regulatory burden. They'll build cultures where responsible AI is part of everyday decision making, where transparency is the norm, and where accountability is shared across the enterprise. They'll be ready for new regulations, new technologies, and new expectations from customers and business partners. The next 4 years aren't just about compliance, they are about building the foundation for a future where AI is trusted, it's scalable, and it's aligned with human values. And the businesses that start preparing now will be the ones that are leading that future, not reacting to it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about 11 Labs. And also, before we really end our conversation, let me just say if you've been following my work, whether it's podcasting, live streaming, or digital content, I produce across many platforms. I'm always looking for tools that elevate both quality and efficiency. One of the most powerful tools in my workflow right now is 11 Labs, specifically their creator plan. And the creator plan gives you access to some of the most advanced AI voice technology available today. We're talking about natural, expressive, studio grade voice generation that's perfect for narration, promos, training content, and even multilingual delivery. It's fast, it's flexible, and it integrates seamlessly into a modern creator's production pipeline. Whether you're building a brand, producing educational content, or scaling your digital presence, 11 Labs gives you the ability to sound polished, consistent, and professional every single time. So if you're ready to take your audio production to the next level, I highly recommend checking out 11 Labs Creator Plan for yourself. My referral link to set up your account and save a little bit of money when you pay for your plan. Well, the link is in this episode's description. So take a moment to explore what 11 Labs can do for your content and the creator plan. I'm telling you, it's one of those tools that doesn't just improve your workflow, it really transforms it. Create smarter, create faster, create with 11 Labs. And now let's close out this episode. My call to action. As we wrap up this episode, the message is simple but powerful. 2026 is not just a milestone. Think about it. It's here now. It's real. But it's reshaping the way every business must think about AI. The companies that thrive in this new era won't be the ones that have the flashiest tools or the biggest data sets. They'll be the ones that build governance into their DNA of their operations. This is the moment to take inventory, to establish oversight, to train your teams, and to create the systems that will carry your business through the next decade of AI-driven transformation. Governance isn't just a barrier to innovation. It's the foundation that makes innovation sustainable. So here's your call to action. Start now. Begin the conversation inside of your company. Identify your AI footprint. Build your governance council. Put the guardrails in place before regulations and the risk catch up to you. The future belongs to the leaders who act early, who act responsibly, who understand that trust is the new currency of the digital economy. If you take the steps we discussed in this episode, you won't be just compliant. You'll be competitive, you'll be resilient, and you're going to be ready for what's coming next. Thank you. And with that, I really appreciate you joining me for this live recording of the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkle. Stay curious, stay prepared, and stay committed to building a future where AI and intelligent technologies work for all of us. Thank you.